y'all. I know it's been a little while, but just wanted to come on and talk about the time and money as resources. So this past weekend, my wife and I went to the river with her family, or her side of the family, to just hang out. Something they do annually. So we went down to the river, and my wife and her niece are very close. And since my wife and I got engaged and married, my wife moved to the town where I live, which is about 4 hours away from her family. So obviously her and her niece haven't hung out as much. So of course on this trip they were looking forward to spending some time together. So one of the things that they did on this trip was they rented some kayaks and just kayaked up and down this beautiful river, very clear water, very kind of a clear but also just a beautiful blue color, a lot of fun. So as they started to kayak back towards the rest of the group, I started to think about the idea of time and spending time with somebody, and how time is a resource that we have, that we use and in a sense sort of pay to have a relationship with somebody. We have time, we're given time, and we trade that or give it away or set time aside, however you want to think about it, to have a relationship with somebody. So again, in a sense, it's the resource that you pay to have a relationship with somebody. That could be spending time with them, like kayaking or playing a game, or helping somebody do something like fix their car. Or it could just be talking in person or on the phone. Of course, all the technology we have these days, but all of those things involve us giving time or using our time, our resource of time, to, again, in a sense, give or pay to somebody to have a relationship with them. So I don't know your circumstance, I don't know where you are in your life, but let's assume, for the sake of the argument, for the sake of this video, that you don't currently live in your dream home, and I just bought you your dream home. Now, if you already have your own dream home, imagine that I just bought you your dream car. If you already have your dream home and your dream car, I'm not sure why you're watching this video. You're probably racing billionaires to space. But if you do and you are watching this video, assume that I just bought you, or imagine that I just bought you some other really big ticket item that just means a lot to you. But for the rest of us, assume or imagine that I just bought you your dream home. Whatever that is, the water slide, the indoor gym, movie theater, the elaborate gourmet kitchen, the huge garage for the dream cars or whatnot, whatever that is to you, mountains, beach, city, somewhere in between, all of the above, I don't know, Hawaii. But just imagine that I show up where you live now. I pull up, I've got the key, I got the paperwork, and I say, hey, I have so much money, just want to do something kind. Here's your dream home, it's all yours, no strings attached. I'm willing to bet that you would feel a certain level of connection or affinity towards me that you wouldn't normally feel towards somebody that you just met. I would, in a sense, kind of skipped a couple steps. You might say something to me like, wow, Chris, you should come over and partake in the first dinner we have in this dream home. Or if you're ever in the area, you're welcome to stay here. If you ever need a place to stay, or you want to use the water slide, whatever. You might say things to me like that because you feel this connection, you feel this affection towards me, you want to do something back. So I would, in a sense, have skipped a couple steps. Or to put it another way, I would have bought some relationship with you with my money that normally people have to use their time. You wouldn't normally say those types of things and maybe invite somebody over to stay with you that you just met. But through this abundant blessing of financial blessing, I would sort of have skipped some steps in the relationship process. So the idea here is that we're always trading time for money and money for time in this kind of back and forth relationship. So typically people have a job, and usually they get paid an hourly or an annual rate, something like that. Like maybe you make $15 an hour, or you're on salary and you make $50,000 per year. It's usually something like that. So you go to your job and you trade your time for money. I work 1 hour of my life, my time, and I get $15 back, or you work for a year and you get $50,000. So you take that money, traded time, got some money, you take that money and then you use it to buy back some of your time. I have a car because I don't have time to walk everywhere. And in fact, I bought that car because I don't have time to build a car. I don't have time to learn how to build a car. I don't have time or the desire to learn how to mine, iron, to make some steel, or, all those different things, components. You'd have to make them, but first I'd have to learn how to make them. So you get the idea. We don't have time to do that, or the desire. And same thing, clothes. I'm not gonna raise up some sheep and then shear it and then make wool, or grow cotton and get a loom and learn how to make fabrics and sew a shirt. So I buy it. So again, I take my time to get money, I get my money, and I essentially buy back time. So now I bought the shirt, I bought the car, and I drove to buy the shirt, and now I've saved me so much time to do other things. In financial circles, you'll hear people talk about passive income, or income that isn't directly tied to your time in the same way that we just kind of discussed. So on the way back from the river trip, my wife and I were listening to some music, and usually we listen to worship music, but every once in a while we get crazy. We listen to like a throwback song from middle school, high school, or just, I don't know, some other song that we like. And my wife put on an Outkast song from the popular Southern group Outkast. I think it was maybe I'm Sorry Miss Jackson or something like that. But on, I don't know if it was Spotify or Apple Music, she was looking at it, and on that one streaming service alone, it had over 700 million streams, which is crazy. Well, it's not crazy, it's an awesome song, but it's crazy on that one streaming service, 700 million. And that's not including whatever other, CD sales or YouTube or whatever other streaming services are out there. So I did some math, and my guesstimation from what I could Google what people get per stream, it came out to something like $15 million from that one song on one streaming service. I don't know how long it took them to make that song, but they would have had to have worked on that one song for years for that to break down to what the kind of a normal standard average hourly rate or even annual rate would be for this $15 million. They would have had to work, like 40-hour weeks for years to that to annualize out to a kind of a standard wage at least here in the US. So this crazy disproportionate amount of time to money on this. They're sleeping, they're going on vacation, they're going on river trips, and they're making money from us just streaming the song. So it's very passive. And so I guess what I want to say is that God desires to have a relationship with us, an intimate relationship that requires us to spend time with Him, praying, thinking about Him, talking to Him, and when I say talking, I don't mean just us praying, but Him talking to us. He will talk to you. He desires to talk to you. And that the time that we spend, we're all so busy, but the time that we spend doing those things and having a relationship with Him is disproportionate. You could spend 10 minutes and get a revelation that literally changes your life. It could be an idea. He could deposit an idea for passive income that changes your life. He could just give you some wisdom and for situations, for handling your relationships that you're spending time on with nieces, nephews, wives, husbands, friends, strangers. He will deposit that. So it's not one-to-one, like, I spent an hour and I don't know what an hour's worth of knowledge or wisdom is, but whatever that unit is, it's disproportionate. You will glean so much. And just be pleasing God because He desires to have that relationship. Also, God has given you a gift. He's given you goals, desires, and to do those things, God will partner with you, but you're going to need some time and you're going to need resources. You're going to need money to accomplish them, no matter what it is in some capacity. God will open the doors and all those things, but you're going to need money. If you want to go on a mission trip to some, place, you can't just show up to United Airlines and say, "Ugh, I'm just doing the Lord's work," and they're like, "Oh my gosh, here's ticket, first class upgraded. You're sitting next to Outcast." You're gonna have to pay even for doing these great things. So you'll need resources, and God can give you those ideas, and He will partner with you. So it's going to take time, and it's going to take financial resources. Deuteronomy 8:18 says, in that verse, God says, I give you the power to create wealth. I give you the power or the ability to create wealth. And that wealth isn't for you to have 47 Lamborghinis. I'm not saying God doesn't want you to have them. That's a completely different video, but it's not for that. Again, maybe you can, maybe you can't, but God wants you to have the resources so that you can spread His kingdom. Zechariah 1:17 says that He will expand His cities through the prosperity of His people. So that's one of the ways which God will expand His kingdom, and so He desires you to have those. If you want to help other people, you have to be in a place where you're not worried about your own light bill or your own rent. If I literally desire to buy people a home, but I don't have my own home. This is an apartment with a sweet pillow of my face, because who doesn't have that? If I want to buy you a home, I have to be not worried about my own rent, in a sense. So just some things I wanted to pass along for you to marinate on. I want to make a lot more videos just talking about this kind of thing. Please consider subscribing, liking the video if you liked it. Also, just leave a comment, your thoughts on the time-money relationship, or if there's something else that you would want to discuss here. So anyway, thank you guys. I'll see you guys soon.